So tell me a little bit about multiple properties. So in other words, can I do a 1031 exchange where I'm selling, let's say, I don't know, let's say I have a really expensive duplex, in Newport Beach. Could I sell that and buy, let's say, multiple properties across Texas, or the opposite? Could I sell multiple properties at the same time and 1031 exchange into a single asset? How does that work?
Well, this is where the fun starts, because it works well, but there's a lot of work to it. So if you're selling, let's start with selling one large asset and going into smaller assets, and then we'll go the reverse.
Okay.
So let's just say we sold something for $3 million in a duplex in Newport Beach or something. I know it would be way more, but let's just make up a number. And so that allows the taxpayer to use that 180 days. This is when the 180 days are great. They have to work really hard to get in contract. And this is where a longer escrow for the sale property really would be a blessing, because they need to be out there looking whatever state they're going to, presenting offers, getting a contract, presenting offers, getting a contract. And that way, when it comes time to identify, they can identify whatever properties are a fact, thus a hope, minimizing something that could negatively happen, like that could make their exchange fall apart. So, and multiple properties are pretty cool, because as I started off earlier, when you're doing an exchange, if you have a loan on a property, you have to replace that loan debt with a new loan on whatever you're buying. So say you had a higher loan over here, so maybe you had $1 million loan, and so we sold for 3 after fees. So now you got $2 million cash and $1 million loan. So you can go out there and buy as many properties, spread it out, buy some free and clear, buy some with lower loan debt, spread it all out. And maybe you got 10 properties with a $100,000 loan debt on it, or whatever you want to do. And at the end of the day, we add up the total acquisition of what they're buying, and the total loan debt and how the cash was spread out. And as long as that is equal or greater to that net sales price, the sales price after the cost of sale, then they have a beautiful exchange. Now, what'll happen is maybe they have several properties they're selling to buy one property. This could be difficult, because regardless of where those properties are, maybe they're all over the US, maybe they're just here in Orange County, but maybe the markets may be different where each of these are located. So 1 or 2 may sell beautifully, and maybe the third one couldn't.
Now, Debbie, you told me a story once of somebody that traded a whole bunch of properties into one property. That was kind of a big success story. Can you share that?
I would love that. So this gentleman had 9 properties in Newport Beach that he wanted to sell. And his goal in life was to go to he went to West Virginia, and he bought a trout farm. And so what he did was some of these properties sold beautifully. And so we would hold these proceeds as each of these properties closed, those proceeds would come to us. We held them in his segregated account. But he had several in the end, maybe 4, that didn't close fast enough. And he had the trout farm already identified, and he knew that's exactly what he wanted, because he was going to turn it into a wedding venue, trout farm, cabins. He had this whole vision for this property. So we did something called a hybrid exchange. And a hybrid exchange is part of the transaction as a forward exchange, where the first few sold, but then there's the last few properties that didn't. So use the monies that we already had from the sale properties as the down payment for the trout farm. And then we turned it into the last ones we turned into a reverse exchange. So you can combine exchange tools. And it's amazing, because at the end of the day, he got everything done, all his properties sold, and this amazing trout farm. And he still sends me pictures of what he's done with this property and how beautiful it is. And it just took a little strategy with how to use these different exchange tools to make this happen. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's probably not the kind of deal you see every day, huh?
No, but every so often, and we laugh inside, because we're like, wow. To me, that takes a lot of energy to do all this. And this guy, he had it. He really did. Mainly. But the most important thing is knowing the exchange tools, knowing how you can create a hybrid where it's a combination, like forward, reverse, whatever, and making these work out right for the client. And it's amazing to see how it all can come together so beautifully.